How do we design effective instructional materials? This is what you will learn today. What are instructional materials? Heineck et al. Define instructional materials as physical and digital tools used to support teaching and learning. According to Branch and Kopcha, instructional materials are all the tools used by educators to facilitate learning and improve student performance. Why are instructional materials important? 1. They enhance understanding and retention. They help students relate new information to prior knowledge and make abstract ideas more tangible. They also motivate and engage learners. The Association for Educational Communications and Technology believe instructional materials serve as stimuli that engage students in the learning process and sustain motivation. 3. They cater to different learning styles. UNESCO recommends the use of varied instructional materials to meet the diverse needs of students. And 4. They support curriculum delivery. The Department of Education opines that instructional materials are key components in implementing the curriculum. And 5th, they foster independent learning because students become more self-reliant and are able to explore content independently. There are 2 types of instructional materials. First is a conventional or traditional, and second, technology-based or digital materials. Traditional materials include textbooks, charts, cartolina visual aids, activity sheets, flashcards, and realia. Technology-based instructional materials include PowerPoint, ebooks, videos, and digital apps. Traditional and technology-based materials are further classified into 4 categories. 1. We have print-based materials. 2. Visual aids. 3. Audio and audiovisual materials. And 4. Digital tools. First, let's talk about print-based materials. These are your traditional print-based tools that don't require technology. Think of textbooks, workbooks, handouts, charts, posters, and the classic cartolina visual aids. They are effective for reinforcing reading, writing, and comprehension skills. Visual materials support visual learning and help illustrate complex concepts. Flashcards, diagrams, illustrations, infographics, maps, concept maps, realia, and models fall into this category. They simplify abstract ideas and improve retention. They're especially useful for demonstrating processes. Let us now move on to audio and audiovisual materials. These engage both visual and auditory senses, making learning more dynamic. Educational videos, animations, simulations, recorded lectures, even YouTube and Khan Academy lessons are great examples of this. They're helpful for visual and auditory learners. Now think about how powerful educational videos could be for explaining a concept. Lastly, we have digital and interactive materials. These incorporate technology and often support student engagement through interaction. PowerPoint presentations, learning management systems like Google Classroom and Moodle, interactive games and quizzes like Kahoot and Quizzes, and educational apps and ebooks are all part of this group. They're effective for digital native learners and are reliable for distance learning. They help students test their knowledge in a modern and fun way. Now, what are the key characteristics of effective instructional materials? First, they need to be engaging. They should capture students' attention through visuals, examples, and activities. Next, they must be clear to avoid confusion and support comprehension. And third, they must be memorable to help learners retain and apply knowledge. Let's talk about the principles of instructional materials design. The first one is learner-centeredness. As a teacher, you must understand your students' prior knowledge, interests, and their learning styles. Another one is alignment with learning goals. Ensure your materials align with clearly defined learning outcomes. Next, clarity and simplicity. Organize your materials logically. Use words and designs that are easy for your students to understand. Fourth, engagement and interactivity. Encourage active learning through problem solving, exploration, and interaction. Lastly, apply the multimedia principles. First is the coherence principle. People learn best when extraneous materials are excluded, so eliminate distracting images and content to keep it focused. Next is the signaling principle. People learn better with cues that highlight important information. Use arrows, bold text, and highlights to draw attention to keywords and important points. Spatial contiguity means that related visuals and text must be kept close together. Place labels directly under the diagrams or use arrows to point things out. Clarity has something to do with using simple, clear language. And relevance means matching the materials to the learner's needs and experiences. Number 8 is consistency. Keep layouts, colors, and fonts uniform. And finally, feedback. Use instructional materials to get and give feedback. Let's look at practical tips and guidelines for designing instructional materials. Let's dive into essential design tips and considerations. Create your instructional materials with your learner's age, background, and needs in mind. Organize your content in a logical progression. Use titles, bullets, and numbers as needed. Use visual aids such as charts, diagrams, and flashcards. And use sans serif fonts like Arial, Cambria, and Comic Sans because they are clearer. Utilize contrasting colors. Use a light color on a dark background and vice versa. Stick to a maximum of 3 colors per page or slide. Avoid purely red-green combination to accommodate colorblind learners. Use models and realia. They offer real-life hands-on experiences that deepen understanding. Here are some suggested font sizes for traditional instructional materials. For printed handouts, use 12 to 14 points. For cartolina visuals, use 1 to 2 inches and bigger for headings. When writing on cartolina, use broad tip markers. Remember, the younger your learners, the bigger the fonts. For PowerPoint presentations, use font sizes between 24 to 30 points for body text and 36 points for headings. Observe the 10-20-30 rule, which means prepare 10 slides for a 20-minute presentation and use a font size of 30 points. Next, follow the 6x6 rule. Limit each slide to 6 bullet points, with each bullet containing 6 words. For video materials, add captions where appropriate. And use pictures, charts, and diagrams to present complex concepts and enhance learning. For digital tools, use clickable elements, interactive games, and hyperlinks to make the lesson more engaging. Ensure the accessibility of digital materials via both computer and mobile apps. Follow copyright laws and acknowledge sources. And use culture and gender-sensitive materials. When created right, instructional materials will help teachers teach a lesson, save time, manage the class, and provide students with a meaningful learning experience. And that's what you've learned for today. Thanks for joining, and see you in our next learning session.